Chocolate versus vanilla, Republicans versus Democrats, and Protestants versus Catholics. They seem to be polar opposites. Let's try to figure out what makes them different and see if we can't determine who's right. For about the first 15 centuries after the death of Christ, if you were a Christian, you were a Catholic, a Roman Catholic. Now, we can argue that depending on which side of this debate you come down on, but certainly by the time of the Reformation, if you weren't a Catholic, you were a heretic. So are we supposed to just take the Catholic Church's word for it, that they're the one church, the one true church? Or is there some biblical evidence to support it? Well, it turns out there is. In Matthew 16:13, Jesus is talking to Peter when he tells him that Peter is the rock upon which his church will be built, and he says that whatever you do on earth will be bound in heaven. And in fact, the Catholic Church lists St. Peter as the very first pope. And that was pretty much the way things went up until about 1517, when on October 31st, this guy, Martin Luther, stomped on down to the local cathedral and nailed a piece of paper up on the doors that was going to shake the church to its foundation. The document wasn't supposed to be some controversial manifesto. All it was Martin Luther didn't like the way that priests and church officials were selling indulgences. An indulgence was a piece of paper. You would go to a church official, you would pay them, and they would give you a piece of paper that said, your grandma who died last month is going to get out of purgatory a little early. Purgatory, by the way, is the place between earth and heaven. When you die, you go to purgatory, you suffer there, and then when you've suffered enough, you get to go on to heaven. Anyway, Martin Luther didn't come out and say he didn't believe in indulgences. He just didn't want them to be abused. The problem was he had challenged the authority of both the Pope and the Catholic Church, and back then that was heresy. The idea that the Catholic Church is wrong on indulgences leads to the argument that the Pope is wrong. And if the Pope is wrong, well, he can't be the vicar of Christ. He can't be a representative of God on earth because God isn't wrong. Indulgences or giving to the poor or getting sacraments from the church, those are all considered works. And the Bible says in Ephesians 2:8 that it's not your good works that get you into heaven. It's a gift from God. Lutheranism evolved into all the major Protestant religions that we know today. And we haven't even talked about Eastern Orthodox Catholics. So who's right? If you look at them on paper, they can't both be right. Well, there's plenty of people out there that will point to these so-called inconsistencies that they read in the Bible and use that as ammunition that, oh, God doesn't exist. If God existed, he would have told us, be a Catholic or be a Protestant. Whenever I see something that seems confusing in the Bible, I look at one passage that helps explain it all.